Life doesn't get easier. People still disappoint you, plans still fall apart, and unexpected problems still show up at the worst possible moment. Yet have you ever noticed how two people can face the same challenge, and one collapses while the other stays steady? The difference isn't luck. It's the state of their inner world. Think of it this way. The outside world is the ocean, loud, unpredictable, full of crashing waves. But inside you is a lake. If the lake is stormy, even a small ripple feels overwhelming. If the lake is still, even big waves from outside can't shake its depth. Most of us spend our whole lives trying to calm the ocean, not realizing we were meant to calm the lake within. Real peace has nothing to do with perfect circumstances. It comes from awareness, the ability to notice your mind before it spirals, to understand what's happening inside you, and to choose how you respond. When your awareness is strong, the chaos around you loses its power. And here's the truth. You don't need life to be quiet in order to be calm. You just need to build a mind that's no longer easily moved. When you strengthen your inner foundation, the world stops feeling like a threat and starts becoming something you can walk through with clarity and confidence. 1. Train your mind to pause. Most people don't realize this, but we react to life on autopilot. Someone criticizes you, and the words fly out of your mouth before you even know what you're saying. A small inconvenience shows up, and suddenly your whole mood collapses. It feels automatic, because it is automatic. The mind is wired to fire back instantly, without checking whether the reaction truly helps us. That's why Buddhism teaches something incredibly simple, yet transformative: the power of the pause. Imagine there's a slow-motion switch inside your mind, a tiny lock that stops you for just a moment before you respond. That moment is your first spark of awareness. It's the space where you reclaim control from your old patterns. And all it takes is a breath. 1, 2, 3. When something triggers you, don't rush to answer, defend, or react. Just stop. Feel your breath move in and out. Notice the emotion rising inside you, not to fight it, but to witness it. Most emotions lose half their power the moment you acknowledge them without judgment. This pause isn't weakness, it's mastery. It's the difference between reacting blindly and responding wisely. Practice it throughout your day. Pause, breathe, observe, respond. At first it may feel strange, but over time, this simple habit becomes your shield, protecting your peace, your relationships, and the clarity of your mind. And eventually you'll realize the pause isn't just a technique, it's a doorway back to yourself. 2. Accept impermanence. Everything in life is always shifting. Seasons change, clouds disappear, waves rise and fall. Nothing stays exactly as it is. Yet most of our suffering comes from trying to freeze what is meant to move, or force away what is meant to unfold. Impermanence isn't a punishment. It's the nature of everything. Think about your emotions. No feeling has ever stayed with you forever. Joy fades, sadness softens, fear loosens its grip, excitement cools down. Even the heaviest heartbreak eventually becomes a quiet memory. Nothing stays, not even pain. Not even the version of you that exists right now. When we forget this, we cling. We hold on to success as if it can't slip away. We resist endings as if they aren't natural. We fight change, believing we can somehow keep life the way we want it. But resisting impermanence is like trying to hold on to a wave. The tighter you grip, the faster it falls apart. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering twice. So when life becomes difficult, remind yourself gently, this will pass. When things are good, let yourself appreciate them fully, knowing their beauty comes from the fact that they won't last forever. And when something ends, let it end. Something new is already forming in its place. Peace grows naturally when you make peace with change, and the more you accept the flow of life, the less you fear its movement. 3. Let go of what you cannot control. One of the biggest sources of mental exhaustion is trying to manage things that were never placed in our hands. We stress over what people think of us, replay old conversations we can't rewrite, and worry about futures that haven't even arrived. It's like trying to rearrange the weather. No matter how hard you try, nothing changes except your peace. Think of your life as two circles. The first circle contains everything you can influence: your choices, your effort, your attitude, your behavior. The second circle holds everything beyond your reach: other people's opinions, the past, how quickly someone grows, how life unfolds. Suffering happens when we live in the wrong circle. Peace begins when we stand firmly in the right one. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself a simple question: does this belong to my circle? If the answer is yes, act with wisdom and intention. If the answer is no, release it. Let it float into the space where it belongs. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what isn't yours. And the truth is, most of the storms in our minds disappear the moment we stop trying to control the uncontrollable. You free up your energy. You become lighter. Life becomes clearer. When you learn to drop what isn't yours to hold, your heart naturally returns to balance, and calmness becomes much easier to maintain. 4. Use mindfulness in daily life. The mind loves to wander. You're eating dinner but thinking about tomorrow. You're walking outside but reliving something embarrassing from last year. Your body is in the present, but your mind is everywhere else. And that constant drifting creates confusion, anxiety, and a feeling of being disconnected from your own life. Mindfulness is simply the act of bringing your mind back home, not as a complicated spiritual ritual, not as something you need incense, bells, or hours of silence for, just a gentle returning to the moment you're actually living. When you're fully present, everything becomes clearer. The noise inside quiets down. Small worries stop multiplying. Your breath deepens, your thoughts slow, and you actually feel grounded in your own body again. Try this. When eating, focus on the taste, the warmth, the movement of chewing. When walking, feel the ground beneath your feet, the air on your skin. When listening, listen without planning your reply. These simple acts anchor your mind to reality instead of letting it drift into fear or regret. Mindfulness doesn't change your life from the outside. It changes your experience of life. It turns ordinary moments into peaceful ones and chaotic moments into manageable ones. The more often you return to the present, the more the present becomes a place of calm, not chaos. Mindfulness is the doorway. Awareness is the key. And peace is what waits inside. 5. Transform negative emotions with compassion. Negative emotions are like fire, hot, quick to spread, and capable of burning everything in their path if we aren't careful. Anger, jealousy, resentment. They rise fast, hit hard, and leave us feeling drained long after the moment has passed. Most people try to fight these emotions or push them down, but resistance only makes the flame grow stronger. Buddhism offers a gentler approach. Pour cool water on the fire. That water is compassion. When someone behaves harshly toward you, it's tempting to see only the sting of their actions. But if you look a little deeper, you'll almost always find a wound behind their behavior: fear, insecurity, stress, pain they've never healed. People rarely lash out from a place of peace. So the next time anger rises, pause and acknowledge it without shame. Feel the heat, but don't feed it. Instead, offer a simple thought, a mantra that softens the edges of the moment. May you find peace, and may I remain in peace. This doesn't excuse their actions. It simply frees you from carrying the emotional weight of them. Compassion cools the mind. It turns reactive energy into understanding. And strangely enough, it brings strength. Because the person who can stay kind in the face of negativity is the one who truly holds power. Practice this whenever irritation or hurt surfaces. Little by little, you'll notice that the fire inside burns lower, cools faster, and eventually transforms into clarity instead of chaos. 6. Practice gratitude every day. Negativity grows strongest when we focus on what's missing, the opportunities we didn't get, the things we don't have, the version of life we wish we were living. But gratitude flips the lens. It shifts your attention from the empty space to the light that's already there. Think of gratitude as a sunrise. It doesn't remove the night. It simply brings enough light to make the darkness less overwhelming. The most peaceful people aren't those who have everything. They're the ones who recognize the value of what they already have. A warm meal, a safe place to sleep, someone who cares, a moment of quiet, a single breath. The problem is, gratitude isn't automatic. It's a practice, something you choose again and again until it becomes part of your mental wiring. One of the simplest and most powerful habits is keeping a gratitude list. Every evening, write down 3 small things you appreciated that day. Not grand achievements, just moments. The taste of your coffee, a kind smile, a message from a friend, sunlight through your window. The smaller the blessing, the deeper it trains your mind to see goodness everywhere. What happens over time is subtle but profound. The mind that constantly scans for problems begins scanning for beauty instead. Your emotional landscape brightens, your thoughts soften, your heart feels lighter. Gratitude doesn't erase your challenges, but it gives you the strength and clarity to face them without drowning in negativity. And the more you practice, the more you realize you were standing in the middle of blessings all along. 7. Live simply. Life becomes heavier when we carry more than we need. Too many possessions, too many commitments, too many expectations of who we should be. Slowly, without noticing, our days fill up, our minds crowd in, and our hearts grow tired. Simplicity isn't about owning nothing. It's about no longer being owned by everything. Think of your inner world as a room. Over the years, you've filled it with old worries, unfinished plans, dusty emotions, and mental clutter that hasn't served you in a long time. Peace can't settle in a room so full, so the practice is simple. Clean the room of your mind. Start small. Declutter a drawer. Cut out one unnecessary obligation. Say no to something that drains you. Release an expectation that's been suffocating you. Each act is like opening a window, letting fresh air move through your life. Living simply doesn't mean living less. It means making space for what truly matters. Meaningful connections, rest, presence, clarity, and the things that nourish your spirit. In Zen, they say, the lighter you travel, the freer you move. When you stop carrying what you don't need, you rediscover the quiet joy buried beneath the noise. Simplicity is a choice, and every choice that removes a burden makes room for peace. 8. Surround yourself with positive influences. Your environment shapes your mind more than you think. The people you spend time with, the conversations you hear, the spaces you inhabit, the content you consume, all of it quietly molds your thoughts, emotions, and energy. You can't plant a healthy seed in poisoned soil and expect it to grow strong. The same is true for your mind. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who speak with kindness, who inspire calmness instead of chaos. Be mindful of those who constantly drain your energy with drama, gossip, or negativity. You don't need to judge them. Just recognize what their presence does to your inner world. Choosing who you let close is a form of self-care, even a form of spiritual discipline. Because when you stand near someone steady, you naturally become steadier. When you're around people with clarity, your own thinking becomes clearer. When someone is grounded, their presence grounds you too. This doesn't only apply to people. It's the books you read, the shows you watch, the channels you follow. Ask yourself, does this nourish me or does it exhaust me? Aim to surround your life with good soil, influences that help you grow instead of shrink. And little by little, you'll notice a shift. Your thoughts brighten, your energy steadies, and the world feels gentler. Because when you choose better soil, you naturally grow into a better version of yourself. 9. See problems as teachers. Most of us meet challenges with the same instinctive reaction: frustration, resistance, or the familiar question, why is this happening to me? We assume life is working against us, or that we're being punished for something unseen. But in Buddhism, difficulties aren't punishments. They're teachers in disguise. Think of every problem as a mentor who appears only when you're ready to learn something essential. Some teachers come in the form of disappointment, showing you where your expectations were too tight. Others come through loss, teaching you release. Some show up as conflict, revealing where you still hold fear or ego. The moment you shift your question from "why me" to "what is this trying to teach me?" everything changes. Your suffering becomes direction, your struggle becomes insight, and your pain becomes movement. Growth rarely comes from comfort. It comes from friction, the places where who you are meets who you need to become. Try this small practice. At the end of each day, write down one challenge you faced and the lesson hidden inside it. Maybe it taught patience. Maybe it showed you a boundary. Maybe it revealed a part of you that still needs healing. When you start recognizing problems as teachers, life feels less like an enemy and more like a school for the heart. Every difficulty becomes a doorway to strength, clarity, and a deeper understanding of yourself. And slowly, you stop fearing challenges because you know each one brings a gift. 10. Meditate daily. In a noisy world, the mind picks up dust without us even noticing. Worries settle in the corners, old thoughts reappear, and tension slowly builds until we feel overwhelmed. Meditation is the simple act of brushing that dust away, giving the mind the clarity it was meant to have. You don't need hours of silence or a perfect environment. You only need consistency. When you sit quietly, even for a few minutes, the mind begins to settle. Your breath becomes an anchor, bringing scattered thoughts back into one place. With each inhale, you return to your body. With each exhale, you release a little of the heaviness you've been carrying. Meditation isn't about stopping thoughts. It's about not getting lost in them. Thoughts will come and go, just like waves. You simply practice watching them instead of climbing into everyone. Start small, 5 minutes in the morning or before bed. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and follow the natural rhythm of your breath. When your mind wanders, and it will, gently guide it back without judgment. Over time, you'll notice a shift. Your reactions soften. Your stress becomes lighter, your emotions feel less overwhelming, and calmness becomes less of a moment and more of a habit. Daily meditation builds a mind that stays steady even when life does not. A few minutes a day can reshape your entire inner world, breath by breath. Peace isn't something you chase anymore. It becomes the way you move through the world. When you pause before reacting, accept what changes, let go of what isn't yours, stay present, practice compassion, choose gratitude, simplify your life, surround yourself with good energy, learn from every challenge, and keep your mind clear through daily meditation. Calmness stops being fragile. It becomes your natural state. Life will never stop bringing waves, but now you know how to remain steady beneath them. If today's message brought you clarity or comfort, let me know in the comments with the words, "I choose calmness." And if you'd like more teachings like this, simple, practical, and rooted in timeless wisdom, make sure to like this video and subscribe for weekly guidance. Stay grounded, stay gentle, and keep returning to the peace within you.